Hey, this is Chris from EssentialSQL, and if you've ever wondered what the main difference is between row number rank and dense rank, then you're going to want to watch this video. Hey, if you like our videos, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Alright, let's get started. So to set up this scenario, I have a list of sports teams here and the conferences they play in. So there's the East Conference and the West Conference, and the teams are like the Lions and the Cougars and the Grizzlies, and their points for all the matches they played. Higher points are better. That means they're in first place. And what we'd like to do is write a query that shows which teams are in first place or second place, tied for a place, and so on. And what I want to do is use the window ranking functions to do this, and along the way you'll see the difference between them. And what I found is, instead of showing the functions one at a time, it's better just to run a query with all of them there and then just go through and talk about them. So what we're going to do now is rerun this query with row number, rank, and dense rank. And so here you can see in our query we have the points, I have the row number ranking and dense ranking. And let's just talk through this. Okay, so the most simple case is row number. And what's really super cool about this function is it will assign a sequential number according to the order of your order by within the partition. So here we're going to have a sequential number that's going to be in descending order by points within conferences. So notice how it goes from 20 all the way down here to 1, and our row number increases from 1, 2, 3 all the way up to 10. And that happens the same for the West Conference, because as we know with window functions, when we cross the partition, the function value resets and then it continues. So now that we've seen that our points go in descending order and we're calculating the row from 1 through 10 for each conference, let's talk about the difference between row number ranking and dense ranking. And this all has to do with how they handle ties. And a good example of this is when we look at the Grizzly and Wolf teams here that are tied for 16 points. You see in the row number the value goes from 2 to 3 to 4. So the tied values would show them as having a ranking of 3 and 4 in the conference. But that's not cool because the teams are actually tied for the same number of points. So using the rank function, what happens is they get the same rank. Notice how here it goes from 1 to 2 to 3, and that's cool because now they share the same rank. And then what's interesting is the next team gets a score of 5. Notice how 5 equals the row number. So what's happened here is that instead of pulling the ranking up, it's going back to the original counting. But then notice Mustang is tied with 10, so it also gets a ranking of 5. But then when we get to the Lightning, which has a lower number of points, the ranking goes back to 7. So they're technically in what you'd call 7th place in the conference, and then team above them are tied for 5th, and the teams above them are tied for 3rd place, and so on. Alright, so that's how ranking works. Now dense ranking takes that a step further, and what it's doing is it's going to address this gap here. So notice how when we had the one team that was tied and then it went to the next team, the ranking jumped from 3 to 5. With dense ranking, what it does is it pulls forward the next value in the sequence. So the sequence isn't going to resume on row number. Instead, it just goes to 4. So you can see here we got the Grizzlies tied for 3rd place, so they get a ranking of 3. And then when we get to the Moose and Mustang, they are tied for 4th place, and you can see it goes from 3 to 4, and then the ranking goes 5, 6, and then there's another one here that's tied with 1 point, and they get 7. So it's the difference is that there's no gaps in the range of values. So in one situation, you may want to, if you're a sports writer, be able to speak of the Grizzlies and Wolves being tied for third in their division, and then the next team is tied for fifth in their conference, because really to say they're tied for fourth wouldn't make sense because there's more than four teams. But if you're working with an algorithm where you need to handle ties and then work through these sequentially, having these gaps might be a big difficulty. So in this case, dense ranking really can help you, because now you no longer have gaps. So the dense ranking will take these ties and then fill the gaps in. So hopefully this gives you a good comparison on how row number ranking and dense ranking would work. So if you have any questions about it, please leave them in the comments and I'll be happy to try to address them. And also, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. It really helps me and the channel get to more viewers. And have a great day.